Hey, it's Pete Cohen here. Welcome to Mi365 podcast. This is episode 138, and today's podcast is called Goal Setting in Action, and it's myself and my business partner Ben Davis. It's a business-focused podcast, but of course you can apply what we'll be sharing with you to any aspect of your life. You know, goal setting is something which many people have probably done or tried, but look, the reality is simple. We all have goals, dreams, and ambitions, especially when it comes to businesses. And today we're going to be sharing with you why you need a purpose and why you need a mission of why your business exists, regardless of how small or how big it is. Because when you have a purpose and a mission, you will find something in yourself that will keep you moving forwards, regardless of the obstacles that you face. So I'm sure you're going to really enjoy this podcast. And today's podcast is brought to you by Mi365 Elite, the #1 coaching opportunity in the world for you to create a life that is just unflipping amazing, unflipping believable. Just go and check it out. Go to mi365elite.me/30 days. That's mi365elite.me/30 days. Take care, enjoy the podcast, and we'll see you on the other side. So welcome to episode 138 of the Mi365 podcast series. I'm here with Ben, my business partner and friend. Ben, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. I'm really fired up right now. This is the third of our business broadcasts, our third business podcast, and this was an idea that we came up some time ago. And we really want to empower people all over the world with their businesses. And today we're going to be talking about goal setting, which is a subject which I think a lot of people talk about, and you know, it's like it can be this subject which doesn't really go anywhere, but our goal is definitely, do you notice the way I said our goal? Our goal definitely is to enlighten you and to inspire you with some wisdom and challenge you in terms of how to set powerful goals that you actually achieve. Ben, what do you think about the whole subject of goal setting?
Yeah, if you're watching this and you've been in business a while, you must probably have set goals. But if you're brand new to business or you're thinking of starting a business, you probably have an idea, but then how do you transition that to actually setting a goal? And I think it doesn't matter what level of business you're at. If you're just in the startup phase or you're like a multi-million pound like business, you can get sucked into the weeds of like the day-to-day operations of the business, and then you forget or you just don't focus on like where the business or where your life is going. And I think that's why it's so important to consistently set goals, but then also review them, tweak them, and adjust and go ahead.
Yeah, I think one of the things I've learned is we are what is called teleological beings. So we are actually target-driven people, and perhaps we should maybe even change the word goal setting to target setting, because we love to achieve things. It's just many people just come up very short. Why do you think so many people decide to do something, set a goal, and not achieve it?
We were talking about this prior to filming and recording this podcast, and distraction. People get distracted very easily with social media, certain things. You set out on a path to do A, but you end up going left or right and end up doing something completely different because of distractions. I think it's the focus, and this is what I love about MI and the journal and the repetition of consistently just doing that every single day, because you're reviewing your goals and where you're going, and you may be journaling right now using our journal, but you don't have a business or you have a business, doesn't matter. Like being consistent is key, and that's like one of the massive like downfalls that I see of business owners. They're just not consistent.
Yeah, so I'm writing that down. So definitely, distraction is a massive challenge for so many people, and being consistent, because to be successful in business, I think it's actually it's a bit of a mundane process because we can look at this, obviously working out a big goal that you want to achieve, and we'll talk about that, but then working out what's the process. And often the process is something fairly mundane that you have to do every single day, even when you don't feel like it, right?
Yeah, and when people are not watching as well.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So, I heard someone say that, success is what you're doing when no one else is watching. But we launched recently the podcast with Sally Gunnell, which was just awesome. And so many thousands of people have been listening to that. But she said something which I thought was fascinating. She said that she never used to think about where she was going because she was frightened. She was frightened because when she used to think about herself running, she didn't always see herself winning. So she was frightened that she would lose. And I think maybe that's another reason people don't set goals, because they're frightened that they won't achieve what they want to achieve, frightened what other people are going to think. On
that note, we should probably share with people listening and watching this our goals for the business, because I've got a frog in my throat, excuse me.
That's okay.
You're someone who...
Can I have a look?
Yeah, it's great.
I just got a toad.
You're someone who says this quite a lot, is it's not what you know, it's who you know. So if we share our goals with the people watching and listening to this, then like maybe someone out there can help us get there quicker. So do you want to go first?
I think there's a couple of really interesting points around that, which is, we're a partnership. Sometimes people go into business on their own, and if you're on your own, I can tell you one thing, you're never actually on your own, because there's always going to be people that you're working with, people you employ, consultants. They are all a part of your business as well, and you'll never achieve anything in life on your own. You need people. And Ben and I are a partnership in the business, and it's quite interesting because we're quite different people, but we both realize a couple of incredibly fundamental things, that we want to give something to the world. So when you ask me what the goal of the business is, it revolves around a purpose and a mission. And many companies have mission statements, but most people don't even know what the mission is. But the purpose is really what gets you up in the morning. The purpose is what drives you even when you don't feel like it. And, this book here, which, you've heard me talk about a lot, Think and Grow Rich, which is one of the most successful business books ever written. Napoleon Hill talks about the burning desire. What is your burning desire? And I think your burning desire, for it to burn bright, it should be challenging to you, right? So, this is some stuff I was writing down this morning. The purpose of our business is to positively impact the lives of 100 million people, to inspire 100 million people around the world. That is our purpose. How we do that? Well, that's our mission. Our mission is to provide the number one coaching opportunity in the world for people to learn what they need to learn for them to thrive in this world. Because I think if people don't learn what they need to know, they're just going to survive and struggle. And that's why we created this, Mi365 Elite, and this is our curriculum of things that we're teaching people. As much as we're selling you this right now, part of what our goal in our business is, we want our business to be an example to people all over the world of, look what we did just with an idea, which was actually his idea. This really was his idea. And goals are often just an idea. Oh, I've got an idea, but what are you going to do with that idea? If you don't act upon the idea, then, as Ben says, distraction will take over, the duck in your head that gets in the way. So just to recap, the purpose of our business is to positively impact the lives of 100 million people. Our mission is to provide the world with the number one opportunity in the world for people to learn what they need to learn in order for them to achieve the life they want. So that's our big goals. There are financial goals around all of that as well.
Yeah, but if our sole purpose was to get rich, we wouldn't be doing this. We'd be doing something else, because we could get richer much quicker doing, I don't know, working in the financial market, maybe.
Male stripper.
Exactly, but how do I respond to that?
I don't know. Take your clothes. No, don't do that.
The financial aspect of, obviously, if we have no money, then we can't operate the business. Like this setup, like everything you see here, like the cameras, the lighting, Toby, who's behind the camera, he's smiling now. This all costs money, and if the business didn't generate enough money, then we couldn't operate and reach out and get more people. But money's not the main driver, because if it was, we wouldn't be doing this. We'd go down another path.
Definitely.
Most probably. But I think it is important to talk about money, and we will do podcasts in the future on business and money. But right now, I just want to sort of focus on the goals of the business. So we want to get to 500 elite members as quickly as possible, because we know the more people we can get this information into the hands of, it can change their lives and their families' lives, their friends' lives, etc. So we are going to be going out with marketing campaigns to attract those people into our business, so they can experience what many of you are experiencing right now with the changes in your life. And again, we'll do another podcast probably specifically on marketing and revealing some of those marketing campaigns and the offers and the funnels and everything like that. But right now, our first goal is to get to 500 elite members.
So you can see our purpose and our mission is big, right? And that's what gets me out of bed in the morning. You know, I'm a bit crazy, get up at 4 a.m, but because I've got this massive goal, nothing is going to get in the way from that. Even with my dad, unfortunately, being in hospital for the last 3 weeks, that hasn't still stopped me from going to work on fulfilling what I believe I was put on this earth to do. And there, I think it's good to talk about the different types of motivation, the extrinsic motivation and the intrinsic. So the extrinsic thing for a lot of people is the things they want to achieve through having a business, through earning a specific amount of money, a car, a house, the trappings of life. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I personally believe there's more to life than just that. I mean, I like those things, don't get me wrong, but I want to have the internal satisfaction of having made a big difference in this world. And I know, one of the things you often ask me to do is come to some of the events that you put on with the other work that you do and inspiring fitness professionals to become successful in what they do, is that we know that a lot of people, they don't have compelling goals and visions of where they're going. So they find any old excuse to get in their way to stop them moving forwards, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. And distractions. And going back to what you just mentioned about your dad, like that is, but could have been a massive distraction. You could have just said, you know what, I'm not going to continue what I'm doing. Just going to focus on that. And it's like, it doesn't matter who you are. You're always going to have obstacles in your way. But if you're driven and you've committed to a goal and you verbally said it to people, like we just said a few minutes ago, 500 members is our target. You've got to take action on that. And one of the other goals for the business, which we're both inspired about, is bringing this education into schools. So on previous podcasts, I think we shared that our school system, we believe, could be drastically improved, and that's being nice.
Yeah.
It's very outdated. I failed in the school system.
Me too.
Walked away with no qualifications.
I've got one.
Well done.
Well, I have got 3 degrees though.
Yeah. Well, I haven't got any. And on paper, I shouldn't really be successful, but the reason I am is I believe, obviously that factor, I'm driven to succeed. But obviously the internet's massively helped. You don't need to learn.
Yes.
We should again do maybe a podcast specifically
on
schools. But what I'm trying to get at is, one of our goals is to take this education into schools, and some schools will be receptive and will jump on it, like some of them have already.
Yeah.
And others will put like a big block because they're probably the headmaster or the governing body. It's not what they're called, the treasurers of the school.
Yes. Well, it's the curriculum. It's doing what the system dictates for all of us to do. But you're Ben and I are quite similar, I believe, in terms of being driven to move away from where we were and to prove to people that we've grown up, and now we were driven to move away, which a lot of people are. But now we've got goals and dreams and visions of where we want to go. Yeah. And I think that is something I would encourage everyone to take time to think about, which is what a lot of people call commercial capitalism. That we live in a world where there's a lot of money to be made. There's no question about it. There's more people making $1 million in 1 to 2 years than there ever has been in the history of man. But if you could look with whatever your business is, that it's contributing to the world, contributing to the people you work with, contributing to make the world a better place in some way, then you should have more drive. Because drive is what we all need, right? To be inspired, which is where you're breathing life into what you do. And this is where I want to move this on a little bit in terms of, because you said about obstacles, which we can look at. But the thing I would encourage you to do is think about the purpose of your business. So the purpose of your business is why your business exists. Why is it here? And if it's just about making money, fine. But if it's more than that, like, ours, we want to impact the lives of 100 million people, that's a big thing. And then the mission is the how. How are you going to do that? For us, it's taking this incredible coaching opportunity to the world and making it easy for people to take information in, to learn and get better. And then I would encourage you to distill this into one sentence. So you could explain to someone who asked what you did, you could say it in a sentence that would make someone go, I get what you do. So people ask us, what do you do? Inspire people to be better than their best every single day. Why does your business exist? And let's move this on to something you just said about obstacles. There's a Chinese proverb, right? A path with no obstacles, it doesn't go anywhere. So if you want to achieve anything in life, you're going to face obstacles. And I'm going to share with you one of the things I learned. It's called Whoop. It was something that was designed by a lady called Gabrielle Oettingen, who's one of the most well-known people in the world of kind of positive psychology and goal setting. But before we look at that, Ben, I'm curious, how do you deal with obstacles? And can you think of any obstacles that you've hit along the way in growing a business?
Yeah, like financial, like when you miscalculate finances.
Yeah.
And there's miscommunication between myself and accountants, and something goes missing and money goes missing, and then suddenly you've got a bill to pay. But guess what? You still have oxygen, right? You still breathe.
Yeah.
Like it's not. You think it's like a massive strangle around your neck, but at the end of the day, pull it into reality. Like you still got oxygen. There's many people today, and when this is published, that will not be on this earth. And when you think about something like that, like your obstacle, your problem, like suddenly shrinks down.
Is that what you say to yourself? I could...
Oh, first of all, I probably swear if there's like a problem, it depends what the problem is. If it's a staffing issue, operations, financial, whatever it is, because every single day there's an issue. In my other business, I told you before this podcast, in my other business, we fired 2 clients yesterday. Yeah. They just weren't a good fit. They were like rude to customer service. It just wasn't, I won't go into detail, but that was an obstacle that was a distraction for me, but I made the decision that we'd refund them and they can go on their way and figure it out themselves. But that was a distraction. But it's how you deal with those distractions and, is this taking me closer to my goal or further away from my goal? And most distractions are probably taking you further away. So you just have to deal with it, put it into perspective, put it into reality, that you still got oxygen and continue on.
That's really interesting that you had that kind of attitude to that, because obviously that was money to you, but you just realised maybe that, listen, this is more hassle than it's worth. And when I was a personal trainer, I did something which someone told me to do, which was if someone wasn't turning up or turning up late, tell them that they're embarrassing you and you can't work with them anymore. And I did that on 2 occasions.
Like when you get into business, like the customer's always right. Well, they're not always right. And sometimes you can't please everyone. If you try and help everyone, you end up helping no one.
Yeah.
And sometimes people watching, listening this, I'm sure right now they got customers that just aren't a good fit for their business, but somehow they try and please them, they try and keep hold of them. And sometimes it's just better just to cut the rope.
And I think sometimes when you let go of things that you create some space for something else.
We should do we should maybe get the girls in one of the podcasts and do a customer service podcast about Mi365.
Definitely, because we've had some very interesting people contacting us and saying, look, people are unpredictable. People will let you down. I think that's another big thing about trust. We often put trust in people, but it's like, well, you put trust in people, people let themselves down, they're probably going to let you down. But go on, I was going to...
Just going back to the goals of MI and the business, a massive goal, and this is where maybe the listeners and the viewers of this can help us, is we want to, we've talked about this a few times, is take this information into the corporate workplace. Because I know, let's say it's a multi-million-pound business, multiple offices around the world, hundreds of staff. It's impossible for every single staff member to be 100% focused and on board with the mission of the business and giving 100% performance every time. If I support Brighton and Hove,
the football club,
right? And I was there on Saturday. We lost, but the 11 players on the pitch, they have to give their all, because if they're not giving their all, like the 30,000 fans in the stadium are like on their back. And even though we lost, like you could see the players, like by the end of the game, were exhausted. They put in a good shift. They gave everything, but it just wasn't good enough to win the game. But it's the same in business. Like if you walk into your office and there's 100 staff there, like no one, like those staff aren't all giving 100%. They can't be, because they've most probably got some distractions on the outside world, internally, externally. And if that corporation, that business take on the education of Mi365, which is called our 365 for the corporate workspace, I guarantee like by the end of them going through that program, like that team will be like gelled together. The outcome will be massive for their business. So if you currently work for a business corporation, or you're a manager, a senior manager, HR, or you own a business, you should reach out to us.
You should go and check out our365.me. And I would look at, again, what we're doing with our output in terms of our way of growing a community and our approach to educating people about what we have. It's interesting because Cristiano Ronaldo scored his most amazing, did you see that goal, right? It was ridiculous bicycle kick. And the fact is, how did he do that? Well, he knows his peak performance state. He's practiced for years and years and years. A great life doesn't happen by chance. It happens by design and hard work. But he only goes out and performs, a few hours every week. But for most people, they go out and perform all the time, every single day. And with their work, most people spend more time at work than they do with their families. What we're looking to do is help people perform in life better. And you can understand it, the way we talk about it, we're passionate about it. And that's what we encourage all of you to do. Think about your business as why your business exists, its purpose. The mission is how you are going to do what you do. And maybe you need to get some help and some coaching with that. But as we bring this on, and you said about obstacles, going back to Gabriel Oettingen, there's this thing called WOOP, which is so powerful. WOOP. So the W stands for wish. What do you wish for? And most people wish for things they don't want to have happen, and then they wonder why they keep getting what they don't want in their life. We get what we focus on, right? So your wish might be to have a hugely successful business. The first O is the outcome. What outcome do you want to have happen? And for me, the outcome should be specific, and you should spend time thinking about that. And then the next O is the obstacles. List out the obstacles that you've faced in your life already. And I've had loads of things in my life that I've hit the same obstacle and had the same challenge, haven't learned, but I'm starting to get better at not letting the same lessons repeat themselves as we learn and get stronger. If you don't take the time to think about what are the obstacles, maybe one of the obstacles is I don't get the results I want, or I do get distracted, or I don't win a deal or something. The P in the WOOP is what's the plan? What is the plan to overcome the obstacle? And I would use WOOP in the three most important areas, because when we're talking about goal setting in business, there are three areas of life that business should fit into, right? Which is wellness, that should come first. I think your family personally should come second. I've been guilty of my family coming third. And then the third area is your work and your service. And we launched in January this year an incredibly powerful goal setting workshop that, let's put a link in this post. If you want to go through a goal setting process where you get a pen in your hand and you kind of go through and answer questions and you bring those goals to life around those three areas, I think you've got a really great chance of doing something absolutely incredible. Is there anything else that you want to say about obstacles and challenges? And
the majority of the world wake up in the morning, they check social media, they check the news, it's all negative. They get up, they rush out the house, if they have children, they have to get the kids ready, and then they try and then perform for the day, be it in their own business or in their job. But let's go, and you talked about Ronaldo, I talked about Brighton football team. Let's look at elite sports people. Like, they don't just rock up to the pitch with their boots. They have like
rituals.
Yeah, and many steps that they put in place. And if you're a business owner, you're listening or watching this right now, let's go back to basics. Like, it's not rocket science. Like, you need to be going through some rituals before you get into the office, because if you're just rocking up to the office and you've had a bad 3 hours since you've been awake, and you're dealing with things that are out of your control, you go into that office and then suddenly the energy, the vibe, something might upset you, you might have an issue with a staff member, you're not going to deal with it in the best possible way. So I mentioned the journal at the start, that is such a powerful resource. Listening to you every morning is another.
Well, it's that whole thing, isn't it? What you either go into reacting mode or creating mode. And one of the first podcasts we did was with Joe DeSana, the guy who started Spartan Races, who I obviously met through you, and he's someone who's massively into rituals, and there's a book by Hal Elrod, The Miracle Morning. Again, there's no rocket science to this. It's all about how you start. How you do anything is how you do everything. And starting your day in a way that you mean to go on. What you do for the first hour in the morning sets you up for the rest of the day. And obviously, that's another reason why Mi365 is the number one opportunity in the world for people to get themselves on the right foot. But it's these simple things. It's mastering the mundane and just keep going no matter what. And we were working with a group of people the other day. In fact, Toby, who's over here, we were filming I was doing an event in Slovakia, and I was talking about innovation. And most people think of innovation as something that's ahead of you, it's in the future. But we were talking about the innovation of your mind. And you can innovate this mind and you can change it. But there are just certain things that you can't get away with not doing. And as we start to wrap up this podcast, there's a big difference between happiness and satisfaction. For me, I would rather be satisfied than happy, because happy is just a state of I'm happy, I'm just here. Which is nice to enjoy the moment, but the satisfaction comes from deciding you want to achieve something and then starting that process, mastering the mundane, and to keep going. So this is one other thing I wanted to mention here. I would encourage all of you to think of three things, which is, what do you love to do? What are you great at? And what does the world need? Okay, let me say that again. What do you love to do? What are you great at? What does the world need? And think about those being in three circles and bring those circles together. And in the middle is the nexus point. And that is where, if you can build a business where you love to do it, maybe you don't love every aspect of it, you're good at it, it's what the world needs, that is where you can have something that really, really takes off. And if you're at a point where you're already doing something and you've already have an existing business, these are some of the things I would encourage you just to stop. Get off the treadmill for a half an hour, reevaluate where you are with what you're doing. Think about Whoop. What are the obstacles that exist? Think about why your business exists, the purpose of your business, the mission of your business, and maybe talk to a few people about it. I mean, this is really important. This is probably your life's work. And we're excited to definitely give you more content. Ben knows more about social media and how to use it effectively and marketing, and we're more than happy to give you that information as we grow our business, that maybe you grow as an individual and your business grows as well.
I think the tools really don't matter if the strategy is not there.
Yeah.
So this is the strategy piece, and even though it might seem simple, hey, set some goals, it's the massive driver. I think Abraham Lincoln is quoted, he said if he's given 8 hours to cut down a tree, he'd spend 6 sharpening
saw.
Right? And it's the same right now. There's no point just going out and doing the latest marketing or whatever it is to drive your product or service if you've not put in the groundwork and the foundation, which is what we've talked about previously on the podcast.
Yeah, so let us know what your biggest takeaway is from today. We'll put the goal setting masterclass in the show notes. My dad moved into a rehabilitation hospital yesterday, and I actually loved what the person said, which was, we don't care about his diagnosis. We don't care. What we care about is getting him moving again. And I thought that was so powerful. You can think about labeling things and making it a problem. Decide what it is that you want and then make it happen. Look, in this book that was based on 500 interviews of the most successful people, Napoleon Hill, who was the author, said 2% of people will tell you where they're going and will get on it and have a burning desire and a mission. Look, the 2% of people that do this probably have a 100% success rate. We invite you to be a part of the 2%. Whether you're applying this to yourself or your business, we want to help you to succeed. So is there anything else you want to say?
No, I think there's a lot of information in this. So maybe potentially listen to it again when you were driving or doing some chores or whatever, exercising. And would love to see you guys comment below on the blog.
On the blog page.
And let us know.
And listen to that goal setting masterclass. It will really blow you away. We've had so many people that have listened to that and they've already gone on and achieved so much. And I think in the future we'll also interview some of the people who we've helped, who have taken an idea and built a massive business. So thank you very much. We will see you next time for another Mi365 podcast. All the best. See you soon.